Okay, Wildcats. Today we're looking at Friday, October 26th, dividing polynomials with long division, and that's going to be on page 26. So if you would, update your table of contents. All right, now your table of contents are updated. Let's take a look at the notes. All right, dividing polynomials with long division, okay, on page 26. So let's take a look at an example of just traditional long division. So let's take 93 divided by 4. So step 1, divide. You think, how many times does 4 go into 9? Well, we think 4 times 2 goes 4 times 2, which would give you 8. So I would say that 4 goes into 9 2 times. Okay. Step 2, we multiply. Well, what is 4 times 2? Well, 4 times 2 is 8. Okay. Step 3, subtract. Well, what is 9 minus 8? Well, 9 minus 8 is 1. Okay. Then step 4, you bring down. So we bring down the 3, and then we repeat the steps. So 4 times 3 is 12. 13 minus 12 is 1. So our remainder is 1. So we would say that 93 divided by 4 is equal to 23 plus 1 divided by 4. Because you take the remainder, divide it by what you divided 93 by. Okay, so we're going to take this concept and apply it to polynomials. Okay. Now I've kind of drawn the long division part. You might take a few seconds to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide x squared, and put a 1 there, 1x squared plus 5x plus 6 divided by 1x plus 2. So step 1, you think, how many times does x go into x squared? Well, so that is 1x. And then step 2, we multiply. So 1x times 1x is 1x squared. 1x times 2 is 2x. And then step 3, we subtract. So that cancels. And if you do this correctly, this first term should cancel. And then 5x minus 2x is 3x. Step 4, we bring down the plus 6. And then we repeat. Well, you think to yourself, what do you times does 1x go into 3x? Well, the answer to that is 3. And then we repeat the step. So 3 times 1x is 3x. 3 times 2 is 6. And then we subtract. Well, that becomes 0. That becomes 0. So our remainder is 0. So we would say that 1x plus 3 plus 0 divided by 1x plus 2, but 0 divided by this is just 0, so we're left with 1x plus 3. All right, let's take a look at example 2. Now, as we're going through it, remember, at any time if you get really frustrated and like you're not understanding it, you could always stop, and then I can go through these in small group. Not in small group, I'm sorry, in the teacher-led station. All right, so example 2. So we have 1x plus 4 dividing into 1x cubed plus 8x squared plus 21x plus 20. And me. All right, so step 1, we divide. Well, 1x squared, or x cubed divided into 1x is 1x squared. Notice that I'm lining up the x squareds in the x squared column, just like I lined up the x's in the x column. This is why it's very important that you keep your work very neat, so you can keep, like here, the x squareds in the x squared column, the x's in the x column, the constants in the constant column. Okay? Now, step 2, we multiply. So 1x squared And that 2 is really ugly. Let me try to fix that. So now we multiply 1x squared times 1x is 1x cubed. 1x squared times 4 is 4x squared. Now we subtract. If you did this correctly, this term will always cancel. So now x squared minus 4x squared is 4x squared. The next step is we bring down, so bring down only the 21x. And then we repeat the step. So you think to yourself, what do you multiply 1x by to give you 4x squared? Well, the answer to that is plus 4x. And now we multiply. So 4x times 1x is 4x squared. 4x times 4 is 16x. Now we subtract. Again, this cancels if you did it correctly. And then 21x minus 16x is 5x. Now we bring down the plus 20. And now we repeat. So 1x times 5 gives you 5x, so plus 5. And multiply 5 times 1x is 5x. Then 5 times 4 is 20. Next we subtract. This is 0, this is 0, so our remainder is 0. So then we have 1x squared plus 4x plus 5 plus 0 divided by x plus 4. That in essence is just 0. So you're left with 1x squared plus 4x plus 5. All right, let's take a look at example 3. So we're dividing 15x squared plus 8x minus 12 into 3x by 3x plus 1. So the first step is we divide. So we figure out 15x squared divided into 3x is 5x. And now we multiply. So 5x times 3x is 15x squared. 5x times 1 is 5x. Now we subtract. You did it right, that cancels. Now 8x minus 5x is 3x. Next step is to bring down the minus 12. And then we repeat the steps, I believe. Yep. So then, well, what do you multiply 3x by to give you 3x? Well, the answer to that is plus 1. So then we multiply. 1 times 3x is 3x. 1 times 1 is 1. Now we subtract. That cancels. You're left with a remainder of negative 13. So your answer is 5x plus 1 minus 13 divided by 3x plus 1. All right, so finish up examples 1, 2, and 3. All right, now let's move on to examples 4 and 5. Now, I put example 4 here purpose because when you're dividing, and I don't know if you caught this, the exponents have to be in decreasing order. So like here, this was 3, 2, 1, x to the 0 power. This was 2, 1, x to the 0 power. But in example 4, you have x to the 4th minus 3x cubed, but you're missing. You have to have all the exponents. So in this case, it's missing the x squared, so you have to put plus 0x squared, then minus 7x minus 14. You have to have all the exponents. So technically, that's x to the first power, and this is x to the 0 power. We just don't need to write that because that's just 1. All All right, so step 1, you divide. Well, x to the 4th divided by 1x is 1x cubed. Or you multiply 1x cubed times 1x is 1x to the 4th. 1x cubed times negative 4 is negative 4x cubed. Now we subtract. When you subtract the negative, it becomes positive. This cancels. Negative 3x cubed plus 4x cubed is 1x cubed. We bring down the 0x squared, and then we repeat. Well, 1x times 1x squared is 1x cubed. Now we multiply. So 1x squared times 1x is 1x cubed. 1x squared times negative 4 is a negative 4x squared. And then we subtract. Subtract the negative becomes positive. Those cancel. You're left with 4x squared. Bring down the negative 7x, and then we repeat. So 1x times 4x is a 4x squared. Now we multiply. 4x times 1x is 4x squared. 4x times negative 4 is a negative 16x. And now we subtract. When you subtract the negative, it becomes positive. Negative 7x plus 16x is 9x. And then bring down the minus 14. And then we repeat. So 1x times 9 is 9x. And then we multiply. So 9 times 1x is 9x. 9 times negative 4 is a negative 36. And then we subtract. Subtract the negative becomes positive. Negative 14 plus 36 is 22. So the remainder is 22. Okay, so that means we have 1x cubed plus 1x squared plus 4x plus 9 plus 22 divided by 1x minus 4. All right, so finish up. Zoom out, that's a long problem. Finish up example 4. Now let's look at example 5. So then we have 4x. Now this one I did on purpose in that I purposely put the 3x cubed out of order. Now when you divide, you have to put the exponents in order. So you have to reorder it. 3x cubed plus 4x squared plus 10 and x minus 2. Now, I also, you notice, we have x to the third, x squared, but we're missing x. So plus 0x plus 10. So not only does it have to be in order, you have to have all the exponents of x. And I think that line may be a little too high for this problem. Let me just bring it down just a hair. There we go. All right, so first step, you think to yourself, what do you multiply 1x to give you 3x cubed? Well, the answer to that is 3x squared. Now we multiply, so 3x squared times 1x is 3x cubed. 3x squared times negative 2 is a negative 6x squared. Now we subtract. When you subtract, the negative becomes positive. Those cancel. 4x squared plus 6x squared is 10x squared. Now we bring down the 0x. And we ask ourselves, what do you multiply 1x to give you 10x squared? The answer to that is plus 10x. So now we multiply 10x times 1x is 10x squared. 10x times negative 2 is a negative 20x. And we subtract. Those cancel, you're left with 20x. Bring down the plus 10. And then you ask yourself, What do you multiply x by to give you 20x? The answer to that is plus 20. We multiply. 20 times x is 20x. 20 times negative 2 is a negative 40. Now we subtract. Subtract a negative becomes a positive. 10 plus 40 is 50. So you have a remainder of 50. So we have 3x squared plus 10x plus 20 plus 50 divided by x minus 2. All right, so if you understood all those, start working on the examples. If you didn't, just know that you can work with me in the teacher-led station in class. So with that, have a wonderful Wildcat day.